Welcome to Geno's Picks. I'm Joe Conti, filling in for Dr. Geno Bisconte. That's what it says on his checks. Last week, Geno was 2-2. And for the year, he's 25-11. And you must be saying to yourself, what am I doing here? Where's Geno Bisconte? Well, maybe he's touring the USO, or maybe he's in some comedy festival in Las Vegas, or maybe he's in LA reading a script. No. He's in Oregon, visiting his girlfriend. Yes, Geno has a girlfriend. Apparently 3,000 miles away is not far enough for this creep to bother and pester this beautiful young gal. Email me if you want an upgrade, sweetie. But first, you know what really grinds my gears? When untalented, middle-aged, one-trick pony, joke-telling pedophile white guys with bad afros speak in the third person and call themselves daddy. Third-person talk is hard enough, but the daddy thing? That automatically pins the douche meter as high as Dale Earnhardt's RPMs when he hit that wall, like Melanie Griffith did on her 39th birthday. Daddy. He actually has the balls to call himself that. A guy who falls back on cheap domestic violence, Holocaust, and Travis Henry has so many illegitimate kids, blah, blah, blah jokes. Daddy. Daddy is the one thing this jack-off will never be, since we all know his girlfriend isn't old enough to make him one. Strap in for your first period, sweetie. Geno's first pick. The Ravens are giving 1 to the Texans in Houston. The line was originally Ravens +2, but with Matt Schaub out, Sage Rosenfels has replaced him at Texan QB. Since Sage means smart and Rosenfels means Jew, are we saying the new QB is a smart Jew? That makes about as much sense as saying black president. And what are the odds of both of these things happening in the same week? I'm kidding. Barack is only half black, much like Sage is only half smart. That is to say, half a game, which was evident by his last starting performance against the Colts in Week 5, where Sage single-handedly won the game and the starting job in the first half as he led the Texans back from a 10-0 deficit to a 27-10 lead in the final quarter, only to give the game and the starting job back in the last 8 minutes of a 31-27 loss. While the Ravens' defense is always amazing, now offensive coordinator Cam Cameron has their offense blossoming under Joe Flacco and Willis McGahee. In a repeat of what we saw this Tuesday, look for a black figure to make the Texans look stupid. Take the Ravens and give the point. The Panthers giving 9.5 to the Raiders in Oakland. One of my father's 2 most used phrases applies to the current situation in Oakland under Al Davis. The entire Raiders organization doesn't know whether to shit or go blind. Incidentally, that phrase was used only slightly less than, thank goodness you got here when you did, officer. The more I drink, the clumsier that bitch gets. In any case, these are 2 teams going in opposite directions. The Panthers are coming off their bye week and will use their ball control offense to pick apart the DeAngelo Hall-less Raiders, who were humiliated by the Atlanta Falcons, who not only trounced them at home, but reminded them how easy it is to go from 4-12 to contender in 1 year. And you thought that rash from that Asian hooker stings. And now the genius that is Al Davis's latest weekly 1982 motivator turned 2008 distraction is his threatening players' jobs during the week. You're the Raiders. You cannot shake up your players by threatening to cut them from the worst team in the NFL. That's like threatening Anne Frank by saying, shut up or we'll move this entire family to Switzerland. Take the Panthers and give 9.5 gladly. Geno's lock of the week. The Pats giving 3.5 to the Bills in Foxborough. While the Jets are out in the Meadowlands screwing up as 8-point favorites, I don't like when he says that. These 2 5-3 teams will be facing off for sole possession of the AFC East. The Bills have lost 3 of their last 4, with their only win coming against the imploding Chargers. And their 4 wins to start the season against the Seahawks, Rams, Raiders, and Jags now look about as impressive as Will Ferrell's movie resume. The fact is the Bills have finally lost 2 in a row, while Bill Belichick never loses 2 in a row. And going into the statement game, both teams smell blood. The difference is the Patriots smell blood like a great white shark, while the Bills smell it like an unsuspecting teen going down on his not-so-fresh prom date. That's why the Patriots will devour everything in their path and eagerly seek out their next victim, while the Bills will come up out of this stunned and bloody at the lips and won't be the same for weeks. And just like that, the Bills will only have themselves to blame, because for the past 2 weeks, those lips were begging to be licked, just like the Jets and Dolphins. Take the Pats, give the 3.5. And now, Geno's Double Your Money Monday night. San Francisco getting 9.5 on Monday Night Football at the Cardinals. For the second time this week, the 49ers will be playing under both Mike Singletary and DeMoon, and it will have positive effects on them. Do I think the 49ers will win? Maybe. Do I think the Cardinals will screw my pick like they did last week? Maybe. But there are 3 things you can count on. The 49ers are a more talented team than we saw in the short week Singletary had to prepare for the Seahawks. And unlike the Seahawks, the Cards are a divisional foe, which, like the town whore, always plays out a lot tighter than you expect. How do you think they get the repeat business, the whores and the NFL? Unlike Tom Cable, who puts the rim job in interim coaching job, Mike Singletary is a great coach and is going to be one for many seasons in San Fran. And the perfect place to prove it is in front of a national audience, kind of like he did for the Chicago D for so many years. There's an obvious difference between the two coaches. Cable was an offensive line coach. He teaches his men to stand ground and be patient. Singletary is a defensive back. He learned to kill whoever comes by next after someone beats you. Ken Wisenhunt will be the second man in Arizona this week to be thinking, I hope I don't lose to this black guy. Don't be surprised if he does. Take the 49ers and the 9.5 points. And those are Geno's picks. He'll be back next week with his run-on sentences. And I want to thank Geno for continuing to make my life miserable. And if you want to check me out, just go to joeconte.com. Thanks.